You know,
It's true. Although
Jacob
they
Phillips
did bring in
gone.
a couple linebackers, though. I don't know. We can get into that sometime, but yeah.
Now that we've gone through free agency, I think we got a good opportunity to talk about it just for a second. You still think you're gonna get Caleb on Chasen?
No. Listen. I've told you my plan, and it has changed because the Raiders went really heavy on the defense in free agency, which I kind of like. Basically, they got the 12 and the 19, and I wouldn't mind them. And we've talked about this a great deal because there is one prospect that I and the rest of the free world am enamored with, and that is, of course, Isaiah Simmons. But I would love to see them somehow trade up to grab that guy. If they don't do that, a lot of people have them mocking a receiver. I think that's probably likely considering that they went pretty heavy on the defense so far in free agency. Now, they still may pick up a guy or two, but a guy that I would honestly, and what I said before free agency is I would like to see them go after another defensive lineman. Although now they've signed Malik Collins, so it's like from your Cowboys, by the way.
Yeah, but you also took Jason Witten, so I gotta say it's a wash.
Hey, listen, someone has to get the senior discount when everyone goes out to eat buffets in Vegas. That's all I gotta say.
Man, it's wild to me that dude is younger than Brady and Breeze and Phil and even Aaron Rodgers, I think.
Yeah, it seems like he's been playing forever. I don't know why. Like, he's one of those guys that is probably not as old as everyone thinks he is.
Yeah, well, he's as old as I think he is. Like, they're giving away his trophy at Tennessee. He's in the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. Like, it's true, dog. That's where they at. All right, so let's talk about some dark horses to perhaps win a national championship, right? I got a couple in mind. I think nobody's really given Notre Dame a second look because Ian Book is on the cusp of either being Jake Fromm, right? Where you're a really good college quarterback and everybody sees that, but also, you know, when it comes to big games, you just don't win them, right? Got beat down by Clemson, 2018 college football playoff semifinals, 30-3. Got beat by Georgia and was leading what I thought might have ended up as a game-winning drive, but it fell apart late. They get into these pressure situations and have started to wilt. I mean, take a look at the Michigan game. Like, some of that I think is on Brian Kelly because it was raining and you're still throwing the ball. I get that you don't think you have any running backs, but how do you expect to contend? And Harbaugh's like, cool, thank you. We'll beat you down 45-19. It's cool. You know, appreciate that. We got the 1-1 on that. But Notre Dame's schedule is also setting up nicely because they get Arkansas in September. I like Arkansas. I don't like them to win 6 games in 2020. I think they might get their brains beat in South Bend in Sam Pittman's first year, especially now that nobody's going to get to practice in the spring, or so we think. And that's an entirely new staff that ain't been able to put anything in, you know? But Notre Dame also gets Clemson in November. And if they beat Clemson and they're undefeated, you know everything you love you could put money on for Notre Dame to make college football playoff and make probably, you know, $2 because everybody else is going to raise the odds or lower the odds for them as well. I think we need to start talking about Notre Dame being there because the schedule sets up for them to at least perhaps challenge Clemson. Maybe. We'll see. But if they beat Clemson, they're undefeated. It's going to be hard not to see them in there. I mean, heck, they nearly got beat down by a 5-7 USC squad and decided to play a little bit of football and still made the college football playoff when we were all going. The same thing people were saying about OU last year is what we were saying about Notre Dame the year before, right?
Right.
So I think Notre Dame is one to watch, and I still don't know what to do with Oregon, but I did that in another segment. Which team do you think could be a dark horse to win it all in 2020?
To win it all? I'm going to go super dark horse because I like to go that route. I don't like to pick. Like I was thinking about saying like Ohio State, but I feel like that's like that's the low hanging fruit. I'm going to go with a team that has an easy schedule and thus has a chance to make a lot of noise, and that is the Arizona State Sun Devils.
The Fighting Herm Edwards.
Yeah, because I think Herm Edwards has done a really good job there. taking over from my man Todd Graham.
Who's got family out there.
Yeah, who is now chilling on the islands. Listen, they had a young quarterback last year.
You think they got coronavirus out there in Hawaii?
They do, I think. I looked. If you look on the map, there's like a little red dot out in the middle of the ocean. It's pretty crazy. You're like, who the heck brought it here, man? You ruined paradise. What's going on? Yeah, I mean, they got a freshman quarterback that threw for almost 3,000 yards. Looked really good. They don't play a great schedule. I mean, they play in the Pac-12, which I believe is kind of weak. And Utah, who was kind of a powerhouse in that conference, graduated a lot of dudes.
Also got destroyed by a third-string quarterback from USC, and then got destroyed once again by a Oregon team that was just tired of it.
That's true.
Somebody was going to get these hands.
That's
what Oregon said after taking a loss to Arizona State.
Yeah. No, I mean, when you look at that's one of the weirdest things about the Pac-12, I think, is it's like you have Oregon and SC. They're obviously the two powers out there, and they look really good at times, and then they look like absolute garbage. Like, it's weird. It reminds me a lot of Texas.
Ooh, okay.
There's games where they come out, and you're like, yeah, this is the team that they probably should be. And then there's games that they come out against really hyped opponents, and then they just look like trash. I mean, they get run out of the stadium by teams that they probably 10 years ago you'd be like, what? It's just, I don't know. I picked a team, like I said, I was going super dark horse. Obviously, that is a giant one. I didn't want to pick like Ohio State or somebody like that that's, routinely in the playoff. And I think that, if a team can do well in one of those conferences, they have an easy run to the playoff. And if they're real, that's where they get basically proven and blooded, in my mind, is they become basically legit and will continue on. I mean, it's real easy to be, because, I'm looking at a list of easy schedules, and obviously number one on that list is Boise State. And it's like, yeah, a team like that can run the conference, but once they get to, if they were to make a playoff, the gloves are off, and it is now, it's put up or shut up, because it's not, that's what I love about the playoff, is if you get to it, then I feel like, you're in the Coliseum.
Okay, so, let me counter with this. You took Boise State's offensive coordinator to become your offensive coordinator at Arizona State. You got Marvin Lewis calling the defense. You got Antonio Pierce as co-DC, but also just lead recruiter. You got Herm Edwards, whom everybody loves.
Mm-hmm.
You also got sophomore and Jaden Daniels, who is cold, but I don't know if he's cold enough to win a national championship coming out of the Pac-12, because it's just watered down and it's been poo-poo. Now,
yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and throw this out here because it's kind of in the chat. They have a consensus All-American linebacker who's wearing the same number as the last linebacker to be an All-American. They have a bend-don't-break quarterback who outperformed my expectations last year. It was decent. They don't return anything worthwhile at wide receiver, and their best wide receiver was about 5'10" and was the only guy catching passes, really. They have two tailbacks that I trust, one in which I really love, who came out of the Louisiana area. And they got a head coach that can flat out recruit and can rally the troops, and took L's to Ohio State, and I'm forgetting at least one. They won a Cotton Bowl. That's Penn State.
Yeah.
I think Penn State also comes out of Ohio State's not just conference, but division. And I just don't see them getting past Ohio State. In the same way that you could see Arizona State getting to the Pac-12 championship game, and then in a one-off beating Oregon, and then getting to the playoff. I don't see a road to get to the playoff for Penn State.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And Penn State's one of those teams, too, that it's like so much talent, and you just keep waiting for it to all click. And for them to, it seems like the same 3 or 4 teams are right there at the end every year, and you keep waiting for one of these dudes to, like LSU did last year. They kicked the door down and, took what was theirs.
I don't believe in Sean Clifford the way that others do. I watched Ohio State run the ball for the first opening drive. I want to say they went 91 yards, 76 yards. Didn't throw a pass. Went right down Penn State's throat against an All-American linebacking core, pretty good defensive tackle. I mean, Micah Parsons was that dude, and I'm terrified of Micah Parsons in the middle. But I also look at Ohio State, and I just see them. You want to talk about reloading.
Yeah.
Bro, like, Justin Fields is going to have such a talented... I mean, he's going to have a Spencer Rattler situation with a year of experience.
Right.
Like, Julian Fleming is the best wideout in the country this year. He's their Jaden Hazelwood. Garrett Wilson is cold. You know, like, you forget Master Teague, forget Marcus Crowley, at least for now. If they get Trey Sermon to actually end up transferring there, I could put them right back into the playoff, but that's not a dark horse. And when you look around at the landscape for college football, it's really difficult to pick a dark horse because the same teams are always there. Not just because they're that good, but because, you know, the idea of Appalachian State being a one-loss team making the playoff, not going to happen, right?
Expansion. That's what we got to have.
We're not going to see expansion, dog.